most, if not all, of the other state brokers are not big attractors.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a very unique situation here where I am looking at being the a main attractor in our region and bringing people into this company. So you're right. There is a completely different dynamic here. And I have to stay that line of, yes, I want to bring people into the company. Yes, I want to attract people into the company. But ultimately, as you have pointed out to me, I want to have the abundance mindset of, I just, A, want to bring good people into the company, and B, I want to help the other people that are here and building in my downline or in my community. Therefore, I have to have an abundance mindset that if they join, that's a great thing. It's an addition anyway, no matter what, whether they come in with me as a sponsor or not. And that is a huge piece to this puzzle. Absolutely. Yeah. Right. But there's a couple things I think we can do. Number one is we talk amongst the growth leaders and we have these conversations. Yes. And that's what I'm trying to introduce in that conversation. I love that. I want to have it. Right. The other thing is, I know that there's a big misnomer in the agent community about what a sponsor is. I've noticed agents approaching me about coming to the brokerage and saying, well, I don't want to be under someone. I don't want to be in this place in the hierarchy. It has nothing to do with that. Yeah. And I've seen agents poorly choose a sponsor such that they think, oh, well, I'm going to have the clout because I joined under Johnny Smith over in, Memphis, Tennessee. Yes. When in reality, they should have had a sponsor locally that would have been able to help them along, because guess what? They're going to end up calling people locally and bothering them. Hey, what do I do? Where do I find these forms? How does this work? Da, 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 da. And those people are going to get pissed.
100%.
So that is a big thing. I've seen issues with that. And I know, though, again, I think it's on us as growth leaders at Real to have these conversations with the people that we're engaging with, or with the growth leaders at our company. They need to be the ones that are educating agents about what sponsorship is for and what it's not for. And that's going to be really.
I think that's good. I mean, I had that conversation with that agent that just joined. She's from here, and she joined under 2 sponsors, one in Utah and then one in Texas, right? Yeah. And she's calling me for forms.
Yeah.
I helped her, and I will gladly jump on a Zoom call with her, because again, I feel like an owner of my company. So absolutely. I need to do that. Yep. Because if I don't, then I'm not living by the principles. We can't do it. So I literally, I don't care who it is, if I directly benefit from it or not. I have to do that because I have ownership in this company. I invest my fucking money into it, right? It's not just commission. Mm-hmm. So, but she did the same thing what you just said, which is she did it for clout. Like, these people are powerful brands in their regions, and she thought that somehow she's going to feed off of that. What you have to understand is you have to be honest with yourself. Be like, what is my brand? Do I have one? Most likely not, or it's very small.
Right.
Right. So me latching onto a bigger brand, I'm just going to vanish into their brand, or I can choose to partner with someone locally who is respected, who I have a good relationship with, who loves the company, and who's going to help me.
Yeah.
And just some people just, I see that they just don't do it. And they don't get it. Like, they don't, and that's also important. You said, like, I don't want to be under someone or under someone, which is, if you think about it's a invisible hierarchy.
Absolutely.
Because it's not if you're under this person, you get any less perks within the company. Like, the hierarchies are completely invisible within the company. Everybody has the same access to everything. It's up to you to make out of those things. What you had a broker call today? Fucking, what was it? 20 people in there?
Yeah.
How many people do we have in Connecticut and Rhode Island?
Like 200, right?
200. Where are they? Right? And then they complain. Oh, you're not engaging us. That is like, oh, you're not engaging us in anything. You're not inviting us in anything. We're talking about the things that we're going to do in the call, which you're not there. Be there for 10 minutes.
Right.
Right? And they're just not. And that's the problem, right? It's like, nobody's going to come and drag you. Like, but if you show up, people are going to love to help you, because it's just how the company is.
I've come up with one key indicator for when I'm having conversations with someone that is thinking about coming to the brokerage. And that key indicator is abundance mindset.
Yes.
If you have an abundance mindset, I am willing to work with you on any level. And it's funny because the people with abundance mindsets are the ones that understand our brokerage model and how really the evolution of brokerage models are working. People with scarcity mindsets, I run from now. Because people 100%. With a scarcity mindset are going to be the ones that focus on the wrong things. They're going to be the ones that focus on indicators that are not making them money, or indicators that are just going to only make them bitch and moan about something that they don't like about where they are. Oh. But abundance mindset people are going to be the thought leaders and the ones that produce the most. And that has been a big key indicator for me about whether someone is a good fit or not.
I was talking to an agent, and we had a conversation multiple times, and then we kind of, stopped talking. About a year later, he reached out to me and he's like, hey, I'm thinking about making a move. Send me that stuff one more time. I sent the stuff, connected them to you. And I was like, look, the most thing I'm excited about right now is the Real Wallet. I really do think that it's going to be a game changer because of the speed. Literally, it's almost in real time. We're getting paid. Like nobody's doing that. It's like Amazon shit, Netflix shit, right? And on top of that, the point thing that is coming out, which we're going to be rewarded points if we use the card. But you're almost going to end up being at the brokerage for free very soon. And I'm just like, literally, my mind is blown from this idea, right? And the first thing the other person said, which immediately made me realize, okay, I must stop trying to convince, if you will, this person or persuade this person to join the company because I just don't think they're the right fit. The first thing they said was, oh, that's just another way for them to make money, huh? It just like hurt me when he said that. I was like, oh, and I didn't take it personally, but I was like, I just felt sad for him. Yeah. That's where your mind goes, because with that mindset, your mind is always going to go to that. Yeah. Always. So you cannot be saved. You can sell 1,000 homes a year, but it's just, it's an anxiety, scarcity source that is giving you the energy, and it's going to kill you and burn you out. 1,000%. And we're literally the opposite of that. So I have the same realization. I was like, I have to talk to the right people. Yes. It has to be that way.
When people are approaching me and they're talking about things that don't matter at all in making money, or at all in being a producer, or at all in how to sell a house, or at all in branding or brokerage, anything, I'm like tuning out now, because I just know instantly, okay, you don't get it, right? You are going to be somebody that concentrates on the wrong things. And I'm becoming more comfortable in my own skin with profiling that person at that point. Yeah. And not trying to convince, because I'm wasting my time and energy and becoming frustrated by it. I'm not going to convince you to be an abundance-minded person. No. You clearly have some sort of trauma that's holding you back in saying, I'm going to be a scarcity-minded, I'm going to be someone who thinks everyone's always trying to screw me over, right? Who thinks I'm just going to come from this place of nothing. And I can't live my life like that. Yeah. And I know that I'm wasting my time talking to you. Yeah. And you've proved, listen, there's nobody more abundantly mindseted than you, right? You came from across the world to come to this place for opportunity. Yeah. That is an abundance mindset. Yeah. If you think, oh, I'd love to go to America, it sounds so great, but as soon as I get there, I might almost starve to death, you wouldn't have come. No. And guess what? You came to America and almost starved to death. But you know what? That's what it took for you to create the opportunity for yourself. And now look. Yeah. Right?
Thank you for saying that, because it's funny, because this year I've decided I want to share more of my story. Maybe this will be an opportunity to talk a little bit about
Love it.
I'm not going to go into too much detail because I'm going to charge for a course for that. Monetize it. How to succeed as an immigrant. But I have had a abundance mindset around, I know that there's opportunity out there. And I've always known if I put myself out there, I will do it. But my scarcity mindset has always been around the amount of money I can make, the amount of success I can have, right? And before you even said this, I was just thinking, because you were saying, I was like, whoa, I learned this from you. I learned this from Brandon, from a lot of people that I've been hanging out with, which is, you can make $1 million a year, but you have to become the person that makes $1 million a year. And the person who says, how are you fucking me all the time, does not make $1 million a year. They might save $1 million in their lifetime, but it's going to be like the worst experience they had. The person who's just giving and has that abundance and doesn't care if they lose a listing, if they cut the commission, if they lose an agent they're trying to bring the company. They are not worried about that. They're just worried about creating something. Those are the people that just shoot to the stars.
Absolutely.
You know? And you see that literally every day. Like there's agents. I was talking to an agent today. He was asking me about this property he's thinking about buying. It's off market. He's like, what do you think about this? How would you approach this deal? It's off market. I said, send me the address. He goes, I'm not comfortable doing that yet. I was like, okay, when you are, we can talk.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm like, I don't really want to talk about this anymore, because if you think that I'm going to go try to get that deal from me, how are you asking me for, why would you think that would give you the right advice?
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
So something is off there and we are not in the same wavelength, and I just can't do it.
I love that.
So,
I mean, I get that all the time too. I hate when people introduce that doubt of trust into the conversation. Like if you know me, I'm like the most trusting person in the universe to a fault.
Yeah.
But when you get in those conversations, I love that you said, like, I just knew instantly that you wanted to end it because you weren't on a wavelength where that trust was acceptable anymore, and you can't give the right advice at that point. It doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah. I'm also notice agents how they use the fact that they're in the company or they might join the company to kind of like abuse you in a way, almost like to make you work for it, so that they have a little power trip going. I fell for it before, but not anymore.
Yeah.
This is who I am. This is who we are. This is what we provide.
Absolutely.
I don't need to convince you anymore.
Right.
Like, we are here. We're taking off. The shit that we're putting out there is world class.
Right.
There's no one in our industry who's doing it. If you're refusing to see that, that's a you problem, not a me problem. And this is not me not taking responsibility, because I still want to grow the company, obviously, but we have to do it with the right people.
Absolutely.
That's it.
I love it. So I want to jump into accountability. Okay. You were texting me on my way here saying, I think I'm going to start a coaching company, and I'm going to call it like Ultra Accountability. And I'm basically going to tell people my value proposition is that I will make you cry unless you do what you say you're going to do. Right. That made me crack up, because knowing you would do that. Right. And you're like, I'll offer 2 free sessions. And I said, yeah, 5 minutes each. Right. Like, what are you doing? Right.
Like what is going on?
What are we doing here? Right. Yeah. So I love it. I think it's hilarious. My point in that, and I texted you back, I said, here's the problem. If you did that, you'll have nobody sign up for your course, right? Because people don't want ultra results because they're not willing to pay the price of what it costs. That goes back to Tim Grover. Tim Grover used to say that all the time. Michael Jordan's trainer, right? Trained Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant.
Dwayne Wade. He
used to say all the time, and this one like spoke to my soul when he said it. I hope I don't butcher it, but he said, if you think the price of success is too high, wait till you see the price of regret. And I was like, oh, like I just got, again, like I felt a knife go into my heart, right? Because it's true. I don't want to be, and I live with that. I don't want to look back and regret things, right? I want to say I went for it. But I openly admit that the price of success in many things that I have tried to pursue was too high. And I wasn't willing to pay that price. I wasn't willing to sacrifice my family to do all that stuff. I wasn't willing to sacrifice my days, my nights, my this, that, my blood, sweat, tears, right? I wasn't willing to screw other people over in some aspects, right? But in some levels of success, that's what it takes, right? So I want to talk about accountability, though, because I have become openly, this is like, open book me, I have become more accountable lately to my own goals, successes, and standards. Yeah. You've noticed it.
Absolutely.
You were all excited before. I'll tell the story. I sent an email inviting everyone to a get-together, right? And this is an important mastermind group. We were having trouble scheduling dates. It goes back and forth. Finally, everybody agreed on a date but one person.
No.
And then we were going to push it out another week. And I wrote back and said, I can't wait another week. I've got stuff we need to get planned and I need your help. I can't do this by myself. No. Let's pick the first date and we'll do better next month.
Yeah.
You wrote me back something funny, basically like, I can't believe how excited this is.
I fucking love that, right? Right. So I was, it's funny because I had a thought about it. I said, I'll tell you in person. I didn't know we'll talk about it on the podcast. But can I just read just the beginning of the email? Yeah. No, I'm not going to read the whole thing. But it said, not to be a jerk, insert joke here, but I cannot wait any longer. Then 30th, 31st, you explain why, which is 100% correct. I think the next level for you needs to be and has to be, which is this needs to be 30th or 31st. Period. Please make up your mind. If you cannot make it, I'll see you in the next session.
Right.
Done. Sent.
Right.
Okay. You don't need to explain your goals and your ambition to anyone. And this is, I've done that to myself. So that's why I'm saying it, right? Mm-hmm. Like you own it. And then once you become that person, people are going to do two things. They're either going to like latch onto you like me. I'm like, fucking, oh, I've been waiting for this. Finally, right? Or some people are going to be like, I can't take this.
Right.
And both are okay. Mm-hmm. There's love in both.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm almost giving you permission to be that guy because you are there now.
Right.
It's like, you're not a jerk. It's not like, I'm sorry if I'm making you feel bad. It's not my intention. This has to happen during these dates.
So, you know, what's been really interesting for me is as I've become significantly more unavailable, my time has become more unavailable because of the broker position. And I'm constantly I'm answering questions. I got 4 different emails open at all times, right? I'm like going. Because of that, I have had to cut my responses short to things.
Oh.
And for me, that's a mind shift because I am the one that crafts the email to like, hey, I don't want to be a jerk. Hey, put the joke here. Everyone's smiling, right? I have to be like the soothing force in the room because I've always done that.
Yeah.
So it's actually really cool that you picked up on the fact that was in there and that I don't necessarily need it, right? And that's raising my standard, like you said, to another level of like, hey, this is what we got to do. You're in or out. Period.
Yeah. And you don't have to be mean about it. It's just like, no, sorry, this has to happen at this day.
Totally.
And you just, you just go from there. It's funny because I was thinking about this. I really
before you go into that, by the way, the person I fucked over was Brendan. So just full disclosure.
That's true.
Like, he's not here to defend himself. Yeah, Brendan, what do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sounds good.
The second week in a row doesn't show up. Get out of here.
This is like the 5th week in a row.
Is it? Yeah, I think he's been here twice in 2 months.
Is it Brendan or Brandon? I don't know.
Who cares? We can do whatever we want. He's not even here. I think we'll put Mason there from now on. And Brandon will come and look at the cameras.
You might do a better
job. But dude, this accountability thing, I really have been thinking about it. It's not that I want to like start a business. I just want to do it for fun. And I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to do like just a basic landing page and it's going to be for free. I'm going to do it for a couple of people for free. I don't know what's wrong with me, but clip this shit. I get some sort of joy when I'm able to break someone. Not in a way like I crushed you, but in a way it'd be like, ooh, I see deep in there. How you doing?
I touched the nerve.
It's you and me now. So you and me, we're going to sit here as long as you're not going to hide it. We're not going to be like, no, I'll see you next week. Fuck it. I'll cancel all my calls. We're going to sit here together. Why did you not do it? Are you afraid? Oh, yeah. Do you not have what it takes? Oh, yeah. Is that what it is? Are you afraid? Are you going, when you're showering, are you questioning your fucking self? Is that what it is? That's okay. That's fine. But is that who you are? Is that who you are? That when you press that, there's no, like, honesty has to come out.
Yeah.
And whatever that honesty is, then like the real work journey starts. Even on your own, like you don't even need somebody anymore. But I'm noticing because I've needed that my fucking self my whole life. And I've had so many coaches. I've never had someone be like that for me, right? And I'm like, my God, like, why am I persuading this person to believe my story? Right. I'm knowing what I'm doing, right?
Right.
Like, I just want somebody to be like, no, I don't care. Like, it's okay. Finish the story. I don't give a shit if your mother died. I don't care. Do you understand that? Like, I don't care. Do you think Trump, presidents,
right?
Like, it doesn't, you have to do a thing. And if you're not intense like that for the thing that you're doing, that's okay. But just adjust your life around it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to find happiness around that. If your mind is here and you're trying to chase this, but then your actions are here and you're not doing it and you're always fucking making excuses and you're getting away with it, and your coach or your person or your friend is letting you get away with it, that's going to be your whole life and you're going to feel unfulfilled.
I have a series of questions for you based on that.
Okay.
If you could hire Tim Grover as your personal business coach, would you hire him?
1,000%.
Okay. I was hoping you said that. If Tim Grover said, you have to leave your family right now in order to be successful and achieve the level of success that you need, otherwise I can't work with you.
Forever? Leave my family forever? Forever?
Forever.
No, I wouldn't do it.
Okay. So there is a price too high.
For sure.
Right? There is a price too high.
Yes.
And obviously now,
yeah,
especially with Henry, right? Like, yeah. Serena, no. We love you, Serena. But like, I get it, right? There is a price too high.
For sure.
And now what I heard in that answer though was also, if it was short-term sacrifices, you would consider it, right?
A year, 2 years, probably.
Which is a huge sacrifice.
Yes.
Right? Hey, you need to move now to Ukraine. And in 2 years, you're going to come back a quadrillionaire and successful.
Yeah. Or whatever the thing is that I'm chasing. Right.
Whatever it is. Right.
Yeah.
And Tim Grover says, and if you follow me, it will happen.
100%. Not even a question asked.
Yeah.
But there's certainly like certain things I'm not willing to sacrifice, like family, things like that. Family. Honestly, it's probably one of the only things I'm not willing to sacrifice. And that's family, right? It's not the price I'm not willing to pay. Like, I don't want to be the billionaire with 8 failed marriages and fucked up kids. I don't, there's a Japanese, and I don't know what the concept is called, but there's a concept. It's a beautiful concept. So I'm going to butcher it, but maybe you put it on the screen. I'll find it because I just don't know what it's called, but there's multiple circles around thing, right? And true fulfillment and success is about 15% finances, 25% family, health, spirituality, religion, a couple of things. Like, that's what true fulfillment is.
Yeah.
Right. To me, as I've grown older, I found that that's what I'm looking for. I'm not even looking for. It's here. Like, I'm just developing and finding it, letting it out of me. Right. I'm not looking to be a billionaire blindly, because I think anybody who wakes up and be like, I'm a billionaire, I'm going to be a billionaire, I think you are trying to fulfill some sort of void that you are just avoiding. I don't know what that is. We all have it. We all know what it is. But I think the way to true happiness and spiritual fulfillment is to finding out why you're not fulfilled already, right? Because to me, yes, there's a lot, you hear a lot of those stories, how a lot of people are rich and miserable, right? But there's also a lot of rich and beautifully happy people, right? Like, we know them, right? Especially now with a company, like, we're in rooms or there's monster rich, successful people. To be honest, out of most of the people that are extremely financially successful, I have not seen a lot of them who give off a weird energy. And that's also, it's funny that it's going back to the company, but that's why I like the company, because look at Sharon, our president, right? He loves his family. Like, it's his number one thing. Yeah. He even posts about it. He sends emails how he feels guilty last year. He wish he would have spent more time with them. Same with the founder, CEO Tamir, Pritesh, the CTO. Same thing, right? And I think that to me is true success. Yeah. If it means that, I'm going to make $1 million versus $1 billion if I sacrifice my whole family, I don't need that.
Well, right? What's interesting about the billionaire thing too, when you said that, is it struck me. If you think about it, most billionaires weren't setting out to make any money. They were just doing a thing.
Of course.
Right?
100%.
The millionaires are the ones that are usually out trying to make money. The billionaires just did a thing and it became life altering and like world changing, right? Like you think Elon Musk was trying to be a billionaire? I think Elon Musk was a super nerd that was trying to do cool shit.
Yeah.
Right. And then now his mission was, I want to get us onto Mars. Right. Great. He knows what that's going to come with. Money lost, money gained, but he doesn't give a shit. It's a mission for him. Right. Then you look at all these other billionaires like Mark Cuban. Right. Mark Cuban was an ultra nerd.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think I'm going to play with this thing called, the internet and cable and this and that. It's just like figured it out.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah,
it wasn't that. I don't think Mark Cuban sat there and was like, I'm going to be a billionaire one day. Like, no way.
I was journaling yesterday and I journaled about this. Watch this, right? So I have this quote in front of my computer that I look at every day, which is, if you are wanting to arrive at your destination more than you want to do the work, that is stress.
Yeah.
You're stressful.
Yeah.
You're stressed because you just want to get to where you want to get to, right? And then I looked at the quote and I just started journaling about it. And a couple of things came to mind. Albert Einstein once said, I'm not the smartest man in the room. I just sit with problems for longer than most people.
Yeah.
Okay. Elon Musk was just on the Joe Rogan podcast and he said he's number one in this like video game, number one in the world, one of the most difficult games in the world, right? And people are fascinated of the fact, how the fuck does he have the time to do that? His explanation, which is brilliant, which I think most people kind of miss the point, is he's like, it's so difficult that it requires 100% of my attention for me to be good at it. That's the only form of shutting my brain and meditation that I get in my life.
Of course.
Now, the average person says, this game is so difficult, I'm just not going to play it.
Right.
And that's the difference between somebody who crushes in life.
Right.
Because if something is very difficult, they're just going to sit there until they figure it out.
Yes.
Because they're just doing it to figure it out. They're not doing it for the billionaire stuff that you said earlier.
1000%.
And literally, like I'm trying to switch my whole life towards, when I'm doing the work, I just want to make sure I'm sending the best fucking email I can possibly send. I want to look at it again, look it over 1,000 times until I feel like this is all I can do. I'd rather send one really good email than 1,000 shit emails.
Right. Yeah. Well, it goes back to your intentionality, right? We were talking about intentionality and we talk about being where your feet are. And that was a big goal for you this year. You stated that, hey, I want to be present this year. Where I am is where I am. And that's where I want it to be. So, that he's got it on his phone. Be present. Look at that.
I swear to God.
Yeah. So being present, being intentional and giving your all in that concentrated space. And that's what Elon just, alluded to in that quote. That's what you're saying. And I love it because honestly, like that's a struggle point for me, right? Now that I'm pulled in so many different directions, I have had to go to that mindset of, okay, I either need to eliminate things or delegate things in my space. Yeah. So what is it going to be? Because otherwise it's a sacrifice and I'm sacrificing quality and I don't want to sacrifice quality.
100%. Because then you're not doing good work.
Which is the whole point of that meeting, because I can't do it all by myself.
You can't.
There's no way.
You can't.
I've got big goals. I've got big ambitions. I want to make this thing work. I see opportunities, but I need the support behind it. And I know that I can't do it myself.
You can't. And that's the first step. You talked earlier about, you were just talking about like my story, how I came here. I was thinking about this, how like with this podcast, when we created it, I just put like the whole thing together, and I'm not trying to like take credit, but just a point of, I was thinking, I do get why I seem like super intense to people sometimes. But that's literally why I'm sitting here with you talking. I should be your contractor, right? I should be your Uber driver. Nothing wrong with that, but that's who I should be, right? I came here as an immigrant with zero connections, $0, nothing in my pocket. That's who I... Why are you laughing?
I should be your Uber driver.
But it's true. It's fucking true, right? But I had this insane intensity. Like I had to work, son of it, twice, 3 times. I don't think you can quantify the amount of effort I've had to put to just put myself in a
position,
middle class position.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm like just to be here with you, right? Yeah. I shouldn't be here with you. I really shouldn't. Statistically, my chances to be here with you are very low. But and I kind of like lost that a little bit in the last 5 years. I want to say I kind of got a little like, like this and that, kind of just like Americanized in a way.
I was going to say you became an American.
Yeah, I really did. And now I've gone back to my roots, but with a different kind of mindset, which is that scarcity mindset is gone. Now I'm more with an abundance mindset, and everything I'm looking to do, I'm just trying to pierce through it and really give everything that I have into a project. Yeah. And I'm looking at, if I can't give everything that I have, I don't want to do it. Maybe I'll do it next year, or maybe I'll do it up 6 months from now. Maybe I'll delegate it. We'll do that. So
it's insanely important. I'm in that situation now where I'm really analyzing those things, and 2025 for me is just that. It's going to be a massive year of growth. I know it's going to be a massive year of growth personally. It's going to be a massive year of growth for the brokerage. It's going to be a massive year of growth for the abundance, right? For all the things. But I also know that this is going to be a year of my continued transition from my earlier part of my real estate career, where I was just like sales, right? And now I'm transitioning, and I still sell and I'm active in the field, which is what I love. But at the same time, I know I'm transitioning my coaching. I've had to reduce my coaching load. I know I'm transitioning now into the leader for this role and for this company hyper locally. And now that's the new challenge for me over the next decade, is going to be this leader.
I love that.
And I am excited for it more than anything.
Yeah.
There's fear there, right? Of course, there's got to be fear there. But for me, it's the excitement of the opportunity. And I can say probably for the first time in my 44 years on this earth, I am less concerned with the spoils and more concerned with like the journey and making it happy and doing the work. And it's like, I think I found it. Yeah. And the last 15 years, where is it? I don't know where. The last 20 years of my career, where is it? I don't know. Am I in the right thing? Am I not in the right thing? I think I found it.
Yeah.
I think it's here.
Bro. That's it. I agree with you. I think it's here. Even the call today, I was like, man, like this is a good call. I wrote notes. I got like a couple things that I'm going to implement from the call, right? It's the broker call we did. And I saw like you were there. Here, I'll give you a little bit of criticism. Old you, not you now, right? But I remember old you, if you would do a call like that, I would literally remember like you would not be fully there. Like you would be distracted a little bit, and you're almost like you're there, but you're just waiting for this thing to be done so that you can go to the next thing. Right. And in the call, I was just like, like I was enjoying it. We were all talking. You were like you called me out on the call. It was just so great. I was like this is how you create relationships. We're getting to know each other there, like other people, some people I didn't know on the call. Yeah. And I think like that's what you're talking about that was just like a little hint of you're doing the right thing. And I think you have the right people behind you or around you right now. And I think you just have to call the meeting, insist the meeting happens at the same time, delegate work, and then hold people accountable if they don't do it.
Absolutely.
Almost nobody should be able to say, oh yeah, I'll do that. You should really be like heavy if you say I'll do that, because you're going to be held accountable brutally.
Absolutely. I've got Albert the Terrible over here.
You should make me a head of accountable. I was going to say accounting. No, don't do that.
Definitely not.
Head of accountability.
Yeah.
I swear to God, you should make me in that thing. I should be head of accountability, and everybody shows their roles. And then I'll just check in with them and be like, hey, have you done this?
I love it. Done. Sold.
Perfect.
Sold.
Yes. I'm so excited.
Oh, sold.
I love it. Who do I make cry first? Tim. I think I'm going to make Tim Macy cry first.
Oh my God.
I want to read this. I read Zillow. I posted this on Facebook a while ago. We've talked about this, but I want to read this, make a video about it, right? This is Zillow's annual report. I read most of it, not all of it, because a lot of it wasn't important for what I was looking for. But there's some data that I got out of it that I think are important for two groups of people: real estate agents and loan officers. Okay. So I'm just going to read this and then we'll put this on the side here. I read Zillow's 148-page report so that you don't have to. Here's what I found. The report is long. It covers Zillow's business dealings in great depth. I only focused on the things that matter, in my opinion. So let's dive in. Zillow's housing super app. Zillow's vision is to create a true one-stop shop experience for consumers via the super app. Find a house, set a showing, get pre-approved, close with Zillow, use a premier agent, and even find contractors through Zillow for repairs in your home. That's their vision. Zillow participated in only 360,000 transactions. For reference, there were approximately 5.7 million transactions. So Zillow's market share is about 6.7%. Here's what's crazy. Zillow last reported that it generated 16.9 million leads for agents. They stopped reporting this a while ago because obviously this is wild, right? This is a 2.1% conversion ratio. Okay?
That's insane.
Blows my mind really how low this is. Last time they reported this number was 2016. I wonder why they stopped. In 2022, they generated $2 billion in revenue, 66% of which came from realtors and brokers paying for leads. Simply put, realtors paid $1.32 billion to Zillow for 16.9 million leads. Maybe a little bit more because they stopped reporting it now. It's probably more now. It's probably like 25 million. Most of their revenue came from realtors. When they say they are partners with us, they mean it. Without realtors, there is no Zillow in revenue terms. Here are some more interesting stats for you. 71% of home sellers are also buying a home at the same time. This is huge, right? Home buyers, 71% of home buyers are also, 71% of home sellers are also buying a home at the same time. I had it right. Among renters, 45% of renters with plans to move within the next year plan to buy a home. Huge opportunity in the rental market. Zillow acknowledges this amongst others as their risk factors. Our business could be harmed if our real estate partners, aka real estate agents and lenders, reduce or end their advertising spending with us, or if we are unable to effectively manage advertising inventory or pricing. We may not be able to establish or maintain relationships with listing and data providers, which could adversely affect traffic to our mobile applications and websites, aka the MLSs, right? This was their annual report. So here's my main takeaways. Zillow is really good for consumers. It offers transparency of information. It allows the consumer to grasp a basic understanding of the market, find homes they like, their favorite towns, schools, and more. You could easily make the argument, though, that they've made our jobs easier throughout the years, and they've helped us generate more revenue, even if you did not participate in their advertising, just in the general consumer education process that they've gone through, right? They have done this by simply educating the consumer. Zillow will never be able to compete with agents on a hyper-local level. So no matter how big and powerful Zillow becomes, hyper-locally, there's just no chance they compete. They don't have enough money, and they don't make enough money, and never will make enough money, and never will be enough profitable to be able to do that. As a realtor, you are very powerful, and Zillow is afraid of you. And they're telling you that in the report. It's one of their major risks is if we stop paying for leads, they are fucked, dead. Think of it this way. If I gave you and Zillow each $10,000 in advertising budget, you as a hyper-local realtor would have much more success in generating business than Zillow, and ultimately would end up with a much higher ROI on your $10,000. So this was kind of my findings on the report. Maybe I fucking bored you to death, but I know this is long. You're like, how long is this? But it just was very interesting to see. There's a couple of things I didn't put in there, how they talk about lenders. They're much more brutal when it comes to lenders. They're clearly trying to compete with lenders, undercut them completely. The crazy part is that this is what they say in their annual report, right? That they're trying to undercut the lenders. But if you're talking to Zillow rep to buy leads, they will literally tell you, oh, do you have a lender partner? They could pay for it. So lenders are paying for their own demise slowly, which is their business model long-term is unbelievably unsustainable. They cannot turn a profit. So they have to, at some point, they're going to have to change something about their business model to go to the next level, or just going to slowly kind of go into irrelevance.
So what's interesting to me is I think, didn't Zillow recently start eliminating markets where they are charging agents for leads cash up front, and they're just going straight to Zillow Flex? I'm 99% sure. I read an article last week, or skimmed an article because obviously I don't remember it, but I'm pretty sure some major markets, I don't want to say major, but like secondary markets, they started eliminating the pay for play program. And now they're going straight to Zillow Flex teams. And I think they're moving their bet to, instead of working with the masses, we're going to work with the classes. We're going to work with the top agents that are really plugging into our system of closing deals. And they think they're going to get a higher ROI by taking those deals and giving them to agents that are going to actually close them. So I know, like, I have a high producing team in Orlando that I coach. They just started Zillow Flex on December 1. And Zillow basically promised them, hey, we're going to give you 200 leads a month and whatever. Within 30 days, Zillow said, actually, we're going to give you like 1,000 leads a month. Where have you ever heard Zillow under promise, and over deliver? Never.
Wow.
They've never been accused of that once in the last 20 years.
Because that's how good this team is?
No, because they're eliminating the pay for play. So they're putting their bet on the team that is good and that has plugged into them. And they have weekly accountability calls, and they have weekly training calls, and they follow the usage of their app, and they enter the information in the CRM. So Zillow can see it. Big brother type. They are acting as the manager. They are acting as the sales manager now and saying, hey, we're going to hold you accountable. And if you want these leads, it's based on accountability, not pay for play. Because what they've realized over 15 years, 20 years, is that agents will pay and still not show up and still not do the work.
No. Here's
$500 a month. You're going to send me 10 leads, and maybe I call 2 of them.
100%.
So Zillow has now said, you know what? Now, Zillow's smart because they say, hey, we're in this for the consumer, and that's not good for the consumer. So we're going to shift our business model. I think that's bullshit. I think they're doing it and realizing, hey, we have more of an opportunity to potentially close more business at a high percentage split. Because now they're saying, yeah, hey, no problem. We're going to put you on Zillow Flex, but we're going to do it at 35% or 40% of the commission. I think Zillow realizes the future is working with the good agents and teams that are crushing and are going to have high accountability in place for the agents and will follow all their guidelines. And they're betting that, yes, they may lose the cash up front, but ultimately they're going to make more money on the back end because they're going to have a higher conversion at a steep commission split.
Yeah. So here's what I think about. I think from their side, this is extremely smart. I still think long-term it's not sustainable because their challenge is not, even if they have the best teams, okay, even if they have the best teams, the best systems, everything else, they're not going to double their conversion ratio. We saw what their conversion ratio was. What was that? What did I say? 6.1, 6.7%, right? So with a great process, maybe you get to 8%. But that's kind of where they cap.
1,000%.
Another thing that I didn't mention here, and this is not the exact number, but the discrepancy between the amount of people who go on Zillow's website versus the people who take action on Zillow's website.
Yeah, forget it.
It's something like 2 to 10 or like 2 to 20 maybe, right? It's extremely large. Really what that means, that's why realtors are so powerful in the local market, because basically what happens is, and you probably have had this happen all the time. I mean, 100%. I had that happen.
I know
all
exactly
the time,
what you're going to say.
right? Yeah. Like somebody will send you a house that they see on Zillow. I'd be like, hey, can you show me this house?
1,000%.
Right? So they're on Zillow. So Zillow is more of a search engine for real estate.
A portal site.
A portal, right? Yeah. Now, the flaw in the business model is that they don't have a lot of options on making money, because it's just very complicated for them to have other revenue streams right now. That's why they tried like the house flipping. They lost $700 million. And they tried many other things. And that's why now they're acquiring companies like things like Follow Boss. By the way, I didn't mention that either. They bought Follow Boss for $400 million, right? I use Follow Boss. Great CRM. Congrats to like the founder. These guys deserve it. But they bought Follow Us because the best teams in the country pretty much use Follow Us. So now they have all that data. But on top of just the Zillow data, they have general consumer data.
Sure.
Right? When you read the financial report is, this is why this is important, because you being on the inside, us being an inside of the business, we read that. The problem is that most realtors are not going to read that.
Of course.
But we read that and then we look at, be like, oh, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. This is full of shit. This is full of shit. But let's say an institutional investor reads that, who is just looking to allocate, I don't know, $20 million for the next 2 quarters or something like that. It's like, oh, wow, they have great traffic. They have this, they have that.
Oh, the data. I got this.
They're going into this. They got the super app. Okay, we'll give them $20 million or we give them $500 million. I don't know, right? Because it's word of that. But if you actually go much deeper, you would short Zillow.
Exactly. You know? That is brilliant that you said that. Brilliant. Because that report is not for us.
Correct.
That report is for Wall Street.
Exactly.
Right? And that's where all these companies get in trouble sometimes, because they are playing to Wall Street. But like you said, ultimately, as an insider, we see how many real estate companies do we look at and we're like, bro, there's no way I would invest $1 into that company.
Yeah.
Right? But we see it.
Yes.
Probably years ahead of what other people see.
Yeah.
And so I am not surprised that they have continued success. Now they also, listen, they have tons of money. So they are able to compete at a level that is just like unheard of, right? If you look at homes.com outspent them like 5-1 in the last, I don't know, like 2 years.
Yeah.
And
the
they gained like a quarter of a percentage point on them, like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and homes.com is actually, by the way, doing some cool stuff.
They're
doing some hyper local stuff.
Oh yeah.
I had a homes.com
me too.
writer call me,
you, ask you about a neighborhood,
asked me about a particular neighborhood in a home that I was selling.
Yeah.
I thought that was actually kind of cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think Zillow's got too much market share to where they'll outlast homes.com or any of these other ones. But to your point, we would short, you and I would, if we had to bet right now for or against Zillow in over the next 10 years, we're going to bet against them.
100%.
Right?
Because they just, they're a great concept. It's just that there's not enough room unless they reinvent themselves.
Yes.
Now I don't know how they would do that, right? That's why it's a reinvention, right? But unless they do that, which how many companies have successfully done that? Not very many, right? Unless they do that, they're going to get all these fancy, super apps things. But the reality is that their business model has a cap, right? And now they say their TAM is like $30 billion. Total addressable market is like $30 billion of how many real estate sales are. But you have to see how much money they spend to generate the revenue they do. It's impossible for them to do more. It's just, they cannot grow it. It's a great company. I just think like they kind of stay there. And if something happens where like the common consciousness of the real estate agent wakes up and says, no more.
Yeah.
Giving them 35% of my commission.
Right.
So that I can post at the end of the year that I sold 200 houses.
Yeah, exactly.
And made literally $300. Like if the bigger teams wake up to that and say, we don't need to be this big. Right. And if we can't do it this way, then we're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
It would be over for them in a year.
So I have an idea. What if? Let's play what if for a minute. Okay. You mentioned Zillow would have to reinvent themselves. What if Zillow went to Apple and said, hey, we want to be partners. And we want it that every time someone wants to see a house, show a house, look at any data, receive any data, talk about real estate, all they got to do is, hey, Siri, I want to see 123 Main Street. That. And it's funny because I've thought that for years. I've said it. I put it in the Amazon. Same thing.
Or even better. Hey, Siri, find me the top 3 realtors on 02895.
Yes. Right? right?
Isn't that amazing?
I mean, and talk about a revenue stream, right? Wow. So
why aren't they doing that?
Bro, Apple, right, could then say, sure, and look at the usage of the phone for every realtor in that zip code and say, this one's on the phone the most. That's probably a key indicator of a good real estate. I mean, it's endless where that could go.
Yeah.
If that happens, by the way,
we're suing them.
If that happens and we're still sitting here doing this podcast, we should kill ourselves.
No, but we probably have 1 billion subscribers by then.
I know. But we got to mark this date that we said that.
Yes.
But seriously, like that to me, Zillow has never scared me. I've never felt like I'm going to lose my career because of Zillow. No. If that happened, it would give me a tingle. And I'd say, well, I'd have to find the opportunity in this because there's going to be opportunity. But at the same time, it would be like, whoa, that's game changing. Right? Like this whole NAR settlement and all this stuff, like the more and more we talked about it, the less and less we were like, this is going to, who cares? It's the same thing, right? It's just a scare tactic.
Yeah.
That is an industry changer.
Yes.
And that would give me the kind of, now you and I would probably find a way to make millions of dollars off of that because we'd be ahead of the game. It's like, great, how do we get in position to be the person that's doing that?
That shows up,
right? I'll program the friggin' phone. I don't care. What do I have to do to be that person?
Yeah.
Right? But 75% of our industry is just going to go,
yeah,
I can't do that.
It's that period of just rejection.
Yes.
Yes. What's the like in psychology, right? You go through rejection first, and then you go through so you go through rejection. Then let's say something bad happens to you. You reject it. Then you feel bad about it. The remorse, is that what it is? Is the 7 stages? The levels of grief. Hold on. I'm going to look that up. And then you put them here. The 7. The 7 levels of grief. Boom. All right. Shock, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, testing, and acceptance. Okay? Here's how wild this is, right? Watch this. When something happens to you that you don't want, you go through the shock first. Then you go through denial, through anger, bargaining, and depression, and then testing. Here's why I'm stopping at the 6th one. Because there is a way to go to the 7th one right away.
Yeah.
Okay? And the way you do that is by being present.
Yeah.
Okay? The reason why you go through the shock and depression, all that stuff, is because your refusal to accept reality. Mm-hmm. If you just live in this in a mindset of complete acceptance all the time, nonstop, then you will just accept. You don't need to go through those emotional, like that kills your energy, right? Yeah. It's like, oh, why am I doing this, that? I can't. Be like, okay, this is the reality. What do I need to do to embrace this?
Exactly.
How do I operate in this space? And then that's why there's a few people who like, oh, I invested in Amazon fucking 20 years ago. I did this here. I did this here. I did this here, right? It's because they didn't go through, this is terrible. They just like, all right, this is it.
This is the future.
Stoicism, right? Yeah. It's like, accept what is. It is what it is. You just got to make the best out of it.
So totally full circle on this whole conversation. I think
we got to close this off somehow.
There's 2 things. It's be present and it's abundance mindset.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 things. And if you're having the scarcity mindset or the refusal to accept reality, very similar concepts, that's where you can't move forward and you're going to be stuck hitting a ceiling all the time. And that perpetual hitting the ceiling is probably making you feel more comfortable.
100%.
Right? But that's not us, bro.
Absolutely not. This was great.